If you're selling on Amazon and not running ads, you're invisible. But if you're running ads wrong, you're lighting your money on fire. And we all know in physical inventory businesses, we don't have great margins to begin with, so there is no room to be wrong here. People want to just launch campaigns without learning the data or even know what campaigns there are. It's like learning algebra without learning how to add first. In this video, or in this series, I'm gonna break down exactly how PPC works, the 4 campaign types, and the metrics you should be tracking to know if your ads are working or not. Reality is, Amazon has become a pay-to-win game with more competition and high PPC costs than ever. It's not like years ago where you could just bid for pennies and print on every product you launch. Knowing how to run PPC today is the difference between a brand that grows with low customer acquisition costs and a brand that loses money praying for a miracle. My name is Andy, and I grew my Amazon business from 0 to 3.8 million in 2 years and ran campaigns that spent $10,000 and got back $100,000 in sales. Yes, that's a 10% ACoS or a 10-to-1 ROAS. In this series, I'm gonna help you start, learn, and scale your ad campaigns to hopefully help you win on Amazon. But before we get into the metrics, you need to know the 4 campaign types, because if you pick the wrong one for where your brand is at, the metrics won't even matter. There are 4 campaign types and they all do different things. First is sponsored products. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with this one. This is a standard sponsor listing at the top of search and the most common one. Whether you're a beginner or a huge brand, this is gonna be 90+% of your budget, and everyone starts here and no one ever really leaves. There are 2 kinds of campaigns, automatic and manual. For automatic, you give Amazon control of what to target, so it's pretty much hands off. All you really have to do is put like a bid that you want to bid. You always want to at least run one just for sales or just finding out what keyword works. For manual, you pick exactly what keywords and products to target. And 2 kinds of targeting, keyword and product targeting. For keywords, it puts your product in the search results when someone searches like a specific term, and product targeting puts you on other people's listings as a alternative option when they're not sure if they want to buy that. Basically, when you scroll down on someone's product, you're going to be able to see like the sponsored products essentially. Next is sponsored brands. You need brand registry to run these, which means you need a trademark. Great for brand awareness and pushing traffic to your storefront, available as a pay per click or cost per impression. But keep in mind that if you run impressions, which I personally have on broad keywords, you will rack up a huge bill fast. What I mean is, like, let's say you run on like a keyword like lotion, which is very open and broad, right? Millions of search volume per month, your money will actually disappear if you run on impression. There were campaigns where I ran on impression and I reached $100 budget in freaking like an hour. It's wild. 3 ad formats here. Collections is showing multiple variations of similar items, like different style watches. This one's new and doesn't need a storefront. And then we have store spotlight. This was showing different categories of your brand, like hats, shoes, shirts. This one needs a storefront. The third is video, where you use a video to show off your product, which works well, but I'm sure you can imagine has a production cost for professional videos. I run this after you get a hang of sponsored products. Sponsored display is the third. Also need brand registry, more middle funnel, and harder to control exactly who you target since you're targeting categories and lookalike audiences. These show up on competitor product pages and can follow shoppers around Amazon after they viewed your stuff. Think of it as retargeting inside of Amazon. There are 2 ad formats, image only or image with a video. Definitely more advanced, and only run this after you got a proven model with sponsored products. But me personally, with this specific campaign type on a very niche brand that we managed, we hit over 47 ROAS with 1 campaign. Yes, you heard that right. And streaming TV is the last one. I really wouldn't worry about this just because 99% of brands aren't going to run this campaign simply because of the cost, and on streaming TV, it's for big brands essentially. So that's how ads are structured, but none of this matter if you don't get how Amazon actually picks who wins the spot, aka bids. And this is where most sellers get it wrong. Real quick guys, if you want more tactics like this, check out the free resources I put together, and that helps you avoid the tens of thousands of dollars of mistakes I've made and countless hours I spent learning them. It's absolutely free and in the description below. Every time someone searches a keyword on Amazon, there is an instant auction behind the scenes. Every seller bidding on that keyword competes. Amazon picks the winner based on the bid amount and relevance. Here's the part that most people miss. Highest bid doesn't always win. Neither do you have to bid what Amazon recommends. In fact, there are multiple campaigns I run that bid super low just for when other competitors run out of budget and I'm able to grab clicks for very, very cheap. Amazon also cares about showing products customer will actually buy. So like a $1.50 bid on a really relevant product beats a $3 bid on something that doesn't match the search. Here is an example. This brand is selling religious candles and I ran ads in a similar keyword, which is also religious and almost identical audiences, just to try it out. And what did that lead to? Despite bidding competitively, we only got 3 clicks on a keyword with 26,000 monthly search volume. Your relevance is doing half the work, which brings us to what you actually came here for. How do you know if your ads are even working? Here we have the metrics. First, we have ACoS, which is advertising cost of sale. If you spend $20 on ads and got back $100 in sales, your ACoS is 20%. So the lower means more profitable, right? It's basically doing ad spend divided by total sales. What's a good ACoS? It really depends on what your margin is, right? So if your margin is 30%, anything under 30% means you're profitable. And if your ACoS is 20%, your margin is 30%, you just do 30% minus 20%, which gives you your net profit margin, which is 10%, right? Next is tacos, which in my opinion is more important. It's the total advertising cost of sale. This is the real number to know if your ads are working. You run ads to get organic rank on Amazon and organic sales come in without you spending more on ads. So realistically, you can have a 50% ACoS on a campaign if you're running a campaign for high volume keywords just to rank, and you will get sales organically, leading to like a 15% tacos, meaning your ads are actually crushing it. You get this by dividing the total ad spend by the total sales, not just the sales from the ad campaigns, your total sales. So here's an example, right? Our ads are showing $2,706 in sales for this week and $326 in ad spend, resulting in a 12% ACoS. If you look at overall sales in that time frame, which we got $4,633, we actually achieved a 7% tacos. So let's say our gross margin is after Amazon fees is 40% with a 7% tacos. Our net margin is 33%. Next is click-through rate. Clicks divided by impressions. This tells you whether your main image or title is working or not. If your CTR is low, it means it might be time to switch your main image or title because you're losing out on potential sales. Basically, people are looking at your listing, but they're skipping over it. So there's something definitely wrong with your listing, either reviews, title, or images, right? Conversion rate. Out of everyone who clicks on your ad, how many actually buys? You find this by doing clicks divided by sales. If your conversion is too low, something's definitely wrong with your listing. You need to fix this immediately because you're actively paying for everyone that clicks on your listing, right? So if you're not converting, but you're getting clicks, that means it's costing you money every time someone clicks. Next is cost per click. Different keywords in different categories have different cost per clicks. For example, like a supplement will have a lot higher cost per click, and some other categories have very low cost per click. So if your ACoS is too high, considering dropping your bids, and if they're too low with low sales, maybe increase them just because you're missing out on an opportunity or whatever the case might be. That's the foundation. You now understand more about Amazon PPC than most sellers who are already spending money on it. There's way more than what I covered here, but this is the overall structure on Amazon advertising. If you want to see how I was able to achieve 7% tacos on my brand or hit 47 ROAS, subscribe to follow along, and I will see you on the next one.